as a result of us being here last year at Movement Day and telling the Portland story, a growing number of New York City leaders have begun at least to ask
that the gospel basically is for everyone. And when you come into a city, you Well, I'm always surprised that people come back. It's a long way to go for a lot of people. It's an effort, I think, to come to Movement Day. People are extremely busy. So I think it's fair, it's true certainly, it's fair to say that I'm always surprised that people are as moved by the idea as they are. I often don't expect people to like and get excited about the same things I get excited about, and I'm impressed, kind of humbled by its growth. It's certainly more got to do with Mac's great organizational ability. Nevertheless, all of his organizing wouldn't work if it wasn't resonating, if it wasn't striking a chord. And it is striking a chord with more and more Christians and Christians in other cities. So that's what always surprises me, is they keep coming back, and the movement continues to grow.
I think similarly, I'm surprised by the speed at which it's growing. Both in terms of number, but also geographically. We had leaders this year from about 300 cities. We increasingly have leaders coming from around the world. In a related effort, we started doing these monthly calls, and a couple months ago we had 20 leaders from 13 countries that got on a phone call. That some were 3 in the morning, some were 9 at night, but it was all around this theme of what's happening in cities, and there's a hunger for these urban practitioners to connect with each other. One of the things that we have found with our model this year is the need to provide a lot of scholarships for leaders that have financial challenges. One of the tracks this year that's working in the arena of incarceration, a lot of the churches they work with are churches that receive people coming out of prison. And so we found that it was really important to assist those kinds of leaders, but once we made the assistance available, there was a lot of enthusiasm and hunger to come. And we're seeing strong interest. You know, the demographics of the church in New York, it's over 90% non-Caucasian in New York, and the Movement Day audience is pretty representative of that.
Yeah, I would just add, I think it takes a little bit longer for the word to spread in that kind of community, because the communication is more informal. But I do see, I think, increasing numbers of bivocational ministers, and that's what we're talking about, is people who have jobs who are willing to take some time off to come to this. But I think the in the early days of Movement Day, I think the normal forms of communication, which are formal, I don't think it probably reached the storefront as quickly. I think it's taking longer, but I think it's happening.
I think the role of an Anglo leader in New York or in a global city is to be a facilitator, to be, in a sense, a neutral person that can bring diverse communities together and to create opportunities for diverse leaders to have platform that they might not normally have to a more international audience. I really do believe that our role is to be a bit like a Barnabas, where we support, find resources, encourage, and attempt to move things along that way.
Yeah, most of the doors in the country and most of the resources in the country still are in the hands of white people. So unless you have some white leaders who are willing to try to broker those resources into the hands of urban ministers and pastors, it's just not going to happen. And so I do think that white leaders who know their place, I think, are extremely important, and will be for quite a long time, because we can be that kind of go-between. We can be the brokers of that power. You're right. The implication of your question is that we shouldn't be in a position where we essentially put ourselves as kings, as it were, and say, so because we've got these goodies to give out, we keep our place of privilege. But I think if we do it with a servant heart, I think it's actually still an important thing that we can do for the church.